Well, this week, new research found that watching just 8 minutes of TikTok videos can negatively impact body image.
Well, the study was led by Rachel Hogg, a senior lecturer in psychology at Charles Sturt University, and she joins us now in the studio. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, there's been a lot of research that's gone into the link between social media and body image, the perception of body image as well. Your research found just 8 minutes on the platform can actually affect the way you view your own body.
Yeah.
How did you go about conducting the study?
Look, we were as surprised as everybody else has been, to be honest, that the dosage rate, so to speak, of just 8 minutes had the effect that it did. When you're designing a research study, you have to practically think about what's feasible, how long will people participate. We thought about asking them to watch content for a longer period of time, but for practical reasons, we kept it to a short period. So we had a sample of 273 women. All of them were TikTok users. They were aged 18 to 28, so quite young women. And we asked them questions about their body image satisfaction. We also asked them about their internalisation of the beauty standard. And we measured that, and then we gave one group access to content. We asked them to watch content that depicted quite disordered themes. But I think it's also important to note that some of the content that they viewed was not content that you would necessarily look at and think this is going to be problematic. I'm talking about fitspiration content, I'm talking about extreme exercise, dieting trends, limited ingredient diets. So we had them watch that content, the other group watched puppies, people cooking, doing things like that, and we observed an immediate decrease in body satisfaction afterwards.
Yeah. There's also, doesn't it just then depend on basically what your mindset is like?
Look, we know that body image is impacted by our day-to-day encounters with information. And for young people in particular, what they see from their peers tends to have a particular impact. And this was part of the reason why we were interested in what was happening on TikTok. Because if you are on a platform like Instagram, the majority of the people that are followed and have large followings are public figures. If somebody like Abby Chatfield was to post quite disordered diet content, she would be roundly, punished socially for doing so. There would be an outcry. On TikTok, young people are creating content for other young people. They're not generally public figures, and they're able to circumnavigate a lot of the social media controls that exist.
What did it tell you that it wasn't necessarily just the extremes that was having that kind of detrimental impact, but that it was any content that is even adjacent?
Look, Dan, I think that question speaks to the fact that so much of diet culture is really a wolf in lamb's clothing. So much of the clean eating trends that we see, and these, even some of the extreme exercise trends, they're cast as health consciousness, and that's got a really positive sort of social appeal. But there's an underbelly to this. A lot of this content is purging by another name. And we also know one of the things that really makes me very sad, actually, is that there have been cases where people who have suffered from eating disorders have gone onto these platforms looking for anti-anorexia content, searching for body positivity content, and the blunt instrument of the algorithm is such that you are actually going to come in contact with this other content.
But Rachel, TikTok, I know, has a warning. And I think we can actually show that warning as well. So if you actually type in Fitspo or whatever it is that you want to look for, this warning then comes up. Is that enough to stop someone to say, okay, this, I'm looking at something that may not be realistic here?
It's a start. It's not widely effective, because all you have to do if you're creating content and you want to circumnavigate that is to put a 0 where an O would be. You can mix up your hashtags in all kinds of ways to go around this, and there's a very competitive kind of orientation to this content among pro-anorexia circles. So they are quite well versed in how to get around some of those controls.
That is actually quite chilling, isn't it? You mentioned at the start that you had a fixed time that this research was for, to not keep people on the platform longer. Do you have any idea of whether the longer that you're on in a specific instances has a compounding impact?
Look, that's probably the next project. Yes, that's probably the next project. But certainly, I mean, we know from our study, the majority of users were using TikTok for an hour to 2 hours a day. So, and 64% of them reported seeing this kind of disordered eating content on their For You page.
Wow.
I get asked all the time, particularly from parents, well, what's the answer? How do I safely, how can my children safely be on social media? I don't think there is a way of avoiding this harm. I do think there are ways, particularly for parents, to nurture their children so that when they encounter the harm, they're as prepared as they can be. Yeah. But we cannot underestimate this. Eating disorders are the most lethal diagnosis that you can receive in psychiatry. So there are stakes here for our young people.
Incredible. Rachel Hogg from Charles Sturt University, thank you so much
for
joining us.
Thank you so much.